W Series race finishing up at Hungary, and boy, was it something. Round 4 is in the books, and at the end, when it comes to the first race for the W Series at the Hungaroring, Jamie Chadwick from pole, no contest, takes the win and fastest lap. Alice Powells finished second place, and is now second in the points behind Chadwick by just 1 point. So 1 point is all that's going to separate them entering Spa next weekend. And of course, both of them have won from pole. The slipstream draft was not as powerful as many were expecting, like the last time we saw. Starting with you, Daniel, entering Spa. Could the race at Spa shake up the championship, and could we see potentially a different winner?
It's going to be really, really close, as it's been in the first half of the championship so far, with both Jamie and Alice doing great. Of course, both won 2 races each. Today, there was, as you said, there was no competition for Jamie. She has been really dominant since free practice, really. In qualifying, she was amazing in the second sector, where she really made a difference. And of course, coming to the next round, I would say that it's really difficult to predict because, of course, so far, Jamie and Alice have been quite dominant. But today, Nerea Marti took her first podium, and Fabian Wolven has been also close to her first victory last time out. We don't know if we can see a new winner in the second half of the season, but maybe there will be more drivers catching up with the 2 drivers that so far have been really dominant.
Absolutely. I'm sticking with you there, Daniel, as well, because my pick coming into this weekend for a race winner was Fabian Wolverend, and she ended up crashing on the opening lap of the race and then unfortunately retiring several laps later. A pointless day for her, unfortunately, but Jamie Chadwick, fantastic. And I don't really see a championship switch around coming up soon. We're halfway through the season now. Spa in 4 weeks' time. Jamie Chadwick won today's race by 10.1 seconds. She did what she did in Austria, number 2. Just ran away with it fantastically as well. I'm disappointed in Alice Powell today. She could have gained a bit closer. But in terms of a different winner, I'm sticking with what Daniel said, Fabian Wolverend. She's very much due a race win.
Very much close to a race win. I mean, one of the big things, entering Spa, the points, it's going to be really unique, especially with that long straightaway. And one of the big things I know we're going to be talking about is when it comes to entering Spa, what's going to be really important for all the drivers in the W Series. Now, of course, the points got really close between Jamie Chadwick and Alice Powell. We also saw a shakeup as Fabian Wolven, of course, retired from the race on lap 1, an incident. Exiting that first corner, lost the front wing, just falling back, no pace, really retired. Then we saw Visser, only 5th place, unable to get around Serdikova. Many anticipated her up towards the front. And Sarah Moore, no points today, scoring outside the top 10. Big missed opportunity. Was this race a missed opportunity for everyone to essentially try to gain on Jamie Chadwick and Alice Powell?
Massively, because we predicted 2 weeks ago that Hungary was going to be an absolutely fantastic race, and I fell asleep halfway through it. It was a typical track. They describe it as Monaco without the barriers. Sadly, we saw that with the W Series. You can see it's 14 turns, 2.72 miles. Chadwick's fastest lap time during the race was a 1:43.611. And yeah, first race here at Hungary as well. But it just didn't deliver good racing. By the end of lap 3, Jamie had had 3 fastest laps in a row. That continued throughout the race, and nobody could get near her. And then also we had this weird situation where, as you pointed out as well, Bajtskivisa couldn't get round Sidakova, and that shouldn't be right. They had a massive long straightaway down towards turn 1. We should have seen overtaking today. We didn't. I'm starting to think, did the team think it was going to rain throughout this race, as what was predicted with the thunderstorms? So, yeah, massive ball drop for everybody this weekend to gain points on Alice Powell and Jamie Chadwick. They finished 1-2. Gap now down to, 3 points between them in the title? Unbelievable. Best driver of the day, Norina Marti, in 3rd place. Held off Sidakova, held off Bajtskivisa. Kemalainen and the 2 Garcias had a little bit of battle. massive drop ball for everybody. The only driver I thought who did well today, actually, was I think was it Saber Moore? No, not Saber. Yeah, Saber Cook. Sorry, driving without her wing mirrors. I think that was more impressive today than what some of the overtakes we saw, or lack of.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, Josh. Let me just say how great of a race Nerea Marti did today. I'm super proud of Nerea. I've been on trackside with her in her season in 2019 in Spanish Formula 4. And I'm super proud of her. I knew that her first podium was going to come pretty soon. I didn't expect her to be on the podium straight in the first part of the season. But yeah, she's massively competitive, massively talented. And also big props to Irina Sidorkova, who did not crack under pressure. She had the Baitskevisse right on her tail throughout the whole race. And while we saw Marta Garcia, with obviously more experience, also won a race in 2019, she did crack under pressure. She had Emma Kymäläinen, another massively fast driver, right behind for most of the race, and then made a mistake into turn 11, I think, in lap 10, I think. And she lost the position to Emma, who is really always a fierce competitor and always right up there to try to gain a position when the opportunity arises. So massive props to Irina, who is of course 18-year-old, and had the opportunity to gain a position. She was as you said, one of the few drivers that actually did gain position during the race. Great race also for Saber Cook, as you said. She drove the whole race without the wing mirrors, so also that was a highlight for me as well. She lost a position. She was actually up to P13 and lost a position to Miki Koyama, who also did a couple of overtaking. So really good race for Miki as well. We know that she had so far had a quite of a difficult season, hampered by a lot of technical issues. So a little bit of a cleaner race for Miki, and she showed that with gaining some places in a very difficult track to overtake. That was not a surprise, but as you said, Josh, we kind of expected something more from this race, especially since that W Series always provided some great racing. But still, good stories. Jamie doing great as expected. I also had expected a little more of a battle from Alice Powell, especially in the first lap, but she really wasn't off the line as good as Jamie. And then, as I said, massive props to the two academy drivers, Irina Sidorkova and Nerea Marti, who I just sent a text message to her to congratulate, because she is my driver of the day.
Definitely, that's really exciting to hear. When it comes to this race, as both mentioned, we didn't see a whole lot of passing, but towards the end, especially when we got less than 5 minutes, that's where we saw Miki Koyama make that move with Abby Eaton. Of course, there was contact entering the corner. They were side by side afterwards. Now, Miki Koyama did get around, but we do know there is an investigation going on as of now. If we hear the results of that investigation, we will report that on the air or on our Twitter as well. But then we also saw Marta Garcia. She got wide exiting 12, ended up side by side, essentially with Emma Kymäläinen, and she got around to take that position. And at the end, it seems like that's where we're seeing a little bit more of the racing action. Was that because this was part of a tire management strategy? Because we know the tires they started on, the tires they finished, and essentially it seems like towards the end, people were anticipating Visser to get around, but was unable to. Is this just all tire management?
Possibly. Well, let's say that in the Formula Regional European Championship, where the same cars, the same regional Formula 3 cars are used, there's the Pirelli tires, while the W Series uses the Hankook tires, which we spoke with Jamie last year about this, and she said that really the tire behavior is massively different, and the Hankook allows a lot to push a lot more throughout the race, and there is very little performance drop. Still, of course, we as you said correctly, we said a little bit of tire management towards the end, I think, and probably Marta Garcia's mistake in the second half of the race was probably due to some tire wear. But yes, I think you might be correct. We will ask the drivers in the coming hours about this.
Noticed throughout the race as well, and quite early on, several of the drivers had a lot of lines on their front left tyres. That'll be the inside right if you're on board with them as well. And so a lot of graining already happening on the cars. And for the incident with Abby Eaton as well and Koyama, it was an interesting one as well, because as they came down the hill in towards turn 2, Abby had a wide line at the exit of the first turn, so she defended hard into the inside of turn 2. And it just all looked like just simply Koyama ran into the back of her before the lockup, and then obviously afterwards locked up. Very strange accident. I do agree, it could be something with the tyre wear, but Abby was defending the inside line, and Koyama just went right back into her. I think they both got caught out because they didn't know how close each other were, but to agree, yeah, we saw tyre wear throughout the race. As early as, I think, was Megan noticed it was lap 6 we saw it down at turn 1. So yeah, the tyres, of course, Hanuks, and they're going around on Pirelli rubber that's been laid on the circuit. I think it's Michelin for the Porsche Super Cups, but F3 and F1 use the Pirelli rubber, and only W Series uses Hanuk tyres. So they're going around on 2 different mixtures. It's like an ice rink. You're going to slide around a lot until it bites in once you've worn the shine off. So, yeah, I think tyre wear was an issue today. And I think the incident in turn 2 was a result of neither of them knowing where to go and a quick lock-up of the tyres. Because Abby just seemed to stop. It was a weird one. Abby just stopped before turn 2.
Yeah, if I can just follow up on quickly on that, I agree with Josh. I think I do not believe that it was like something that Miki was doing on purpose. Definitely, but she just was caught out by Abby, kind of braking a little bit earlier maybe than she expected. I would say that there was a racing incident. We know that now there is an investigation, an official investigation, but I saw that as a racing incident. Both Abby and Miki could make the turn, so I thought it was a good battle, and Miki did a pretty good pass on at turn 4. That contact was not great for Abby, but still they managed to get the turn, and
it was great racing between the two then, and definitely was something where really that ended the race as the action was starting to heat up. It was really just a lot of fun to watch. Now, of course, Jamie Chadwick, she leads the W Series points series over Alice Powell. However, in our grid ratings, of course, we rate each series based on driver's performance. We have Alice Powell by 1 point over Jamie Chadwick. So the competition level between the two of them is really close between the two drivers. And essentially, after the race, Jamie Chadwick said something very interesting. She said the start and exiting turn 1 was the most important part of this race. And then she could essentially relax, take it easy going forward. She still dominated the race. She made it look easy, but of course, we all know she is racing really hard. Spa-Francorchamps, very different track compared to what we have here today. When it comes to entering the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, what would the drivers be focusing on, and how important will qualifying be?
Qualifying is an interesting one at Spa because it's a short track in terms of laps, but it's over 7 kilometers. So it's the longest track of the year, but the shortest amounts of laps. Get yourself around that in your head. It's confusing. Drivers, I think, going into Spa will have to focus on the correct setup to handle the high-speed corners. And especially, you're going to have to dial yourself into it as well. You're going to have to be perfect every single lap, because if not, Spa bites, and it bites hard if you made a mistake. We've seen that throughout the years as well, across numerous different series. For Jamie Chadwick and Alice Powell, they have now both of them going to go into the summer break knowing it's between them for the title. I wouldn't be considering everybody else. Focus on one person, otherwise your brain will get muddled during the race as to who you're fighting and who you're not fighting. So top 2 in the championship, going to be thinking it's top 2. Watch out for Sarah Moore and Fabian Volverend to come back up as well, because they've effectively got nothing to lose with 4 races to go. They could be quite a surprise going up. But you mentioned as well about Jamie Chadwick, and she said that turn 1 was the most exciting part. She got off the line today with a lightning getaway. She was about 4 or 5 tenths clear of Alice Powell by the time she got to turn 1. That doesn't necessarily work at Spa. You've got the La Source hairpin straight away, and then you've got to run up the hill through Eau Rouge, up the top at Radillon, and then down the Lacombe straight down the Kemmel straight into Lacombe. So really, you need a good exit out of 1 to make sure you're in the lead at the top of the hill by the end of the Kemmel Straight. Because how many times have we seen David Croft, or even if you look back last year, myself, getting very excited at the start of the race because you're slipstreaming the battles left and right. You don't know who's going to win. I remember Hamilton, Vettel, Perez and Ocon 4 abreast and towards the Lacombe chicane. The start isn't critical at Spa. It is what you do after turn 1. In terms of qualifying, you don't want to qualify near the back because then you'll be left in a train. Ideally, to avoid any dramas, you want to be starting first 3 rows of the grid.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. As you said, I think the start will be exactly as you said. Yeah, the most important thing is the run towards the Lacombe chicane. Also, qualifying is a little bit less important compared to the Hungaroring. Definitely, of course, there are more passing opportunities at Spa with that long straight, Kemmel Straight, and also the run towards the bus stop chicane. I would say that probably Irina Sidorkova will have a little bit more of a hard time in Spa, because it's a lot more similar to what we saw in Silverstone as a track configuration. She saw after the race that she was struggling a little bit more with the high-speed corners because starting her racing career in Russia. She had not prior experience of these kind of circuits, and I followed her in the Formula 4 Russian Championship in 2018, I think. And she was right. She was very good in the technical and small and slow and twisty circuits, and we saw that also today in Budapest. So I think she will have a little bit more of a hard time coming to Spa-Francorchamps. But as you said, Josh, I agree that Fabienne Volven now has nothing to lose. She has experience of the Spa-Francorchamps track, even though on GT cars, not on Formula cars. But I think she will be good in Spa. It will be a little bit closer to what we saw in Silverstone. Also, Sarah Moore having a hard weekend this time out in Budapest. She might be a little bit more towards the front in Spa, just as Weiske Visser, who is basically on home circuit. So, well, she will have the Zandvoort race this year, but she has quite a lot of experience also at Spa. And I think that we will see Naomi Schiff racing in Spa-Francorchamps next time in the Puma car. Very unfortunate race for Caitlin Wood this time out. She was pretty good in practice session, but she had an issue with the rear suspension yesterday in qualifying and couldn't really make up positions after such a difficult qualifying. So we will also have, I think it's not confirmed yet, but I think we will have Naomi Schiff in the second Puma car. And that's going to be interesting as well to see a new driver, and then we will see what happens.
And when it comes to the W Series at Spa, I think it's out. I think it's going to be Jamie Chadwick, Alice Powell, and then the rest of the field. You saw what happened today in Hungary. Jamie Chadwick had a lightning start, and she took off. And what happened? She dominated. We all know how crucial Spa is. There's so many legendary corners. You have the LaSource hairpin. You have the long camel straight. You even have the bus stop chicane at the end. I believe when it comes to the W Series, it's going to be one where I think if you have at least a top 5 qualifying start, you have a shot to win. Right now, I believe it's Alice Powell, Jamie Chadwick, then the field when it comes to the W Series.
W Series Spa-Francorchamps is going to be a very exciting race. I can't wait to see all those drivers around that track. It's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, that race is going to be at the same time as the Formula One Belgium Grand Prix. Now, of course, W Series now starting their long summer break with Formula One, but Formula One hasn't started their break yet because they have a big race tomorrow, essentially, when it comes to the Hungarian Grand Prix.